I am Vince Molinari and welcome to FinTech TV. We're broadcasting from the OurCrowd Global Investor Summit here in Jerusalem, Israel. I am delighted to be joined by Ori Sobovitz, who is a partner at our host, OurCrowd. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, delighted, Ori. There's so much going on. I am so impressed with OurCrowd has put together, the convening power. 80 different countries, it seems, around the world. 85, I don't want to shortchange it. Absolutely, the energy is beyond. So thankful to be part of it.
Thank you.
So I wanted to talk about incubators. So you're in charge of the 6 incubators here for OurCrowd.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about it, what it's all about.
Sure. So it's actually a program that started about 30 years ago by the Ministry of Economy. Today it's called the Israel Innovation Authority. This is a government entity that funds high-tech here in Israel. They understood that in order to create more and more startups, they need to incentivize investors, both from Israel and abroad, to invest in the very early stage. This is the riskiest stage. Many investors are not interested to invest their money in seed investment. So the government realized that in order to incentivize both multinational companies and VCs from Israel and abroad, they to invest money in early stage companies.
So this is the first risk.
Yeah, this is the first risk. Most of the companies will not succeed. And in order to do so, they say the following: we will put in 85% of the money invested in each company, in each startup in these incubators. We'll take no equity. It's a
No equity.
No equity, the non-dilutive grant. So for example, let's say we invest in your company, and we're sure you'll be going to be very successful. Out of the $1 million, the Israel Innovation Authority will invest 85%. We will complete only $150,000, but we will get the equity. This way, many multinational companies, NVCs, are competing on bids. There are today about 20 tech incubators here in Israel funded by the government. Every time there's a bid, many syndicates are competing on it. And this way, the government says the following: we know to put money in the beginning, but we can't replace the private sector. You're the experts, you have the expertise and all the experience. So if you win this bid, you will mentor these companies. It's a hands-on approach. It's not like invest in your company and see you next quarter. These companies are located physically in these incubators. We staff hands-on helping these companies to validate their business plan, to work on their product or service. And that way it incentivizes us to come in because we put much less money and we get equity. So just for an example, we invested in a company called Perfuse, cultivated meat. It was about $1.2 million. We put in only $200,000. We got 47% of the company because this was actually a company that came from the academy. A year later, they were able to raise $3 million and $15 million valuation cap. For us, in 1 year, it was like 25x on our money, unrealized, of course. So this way, the government is willing and able to bring in players like Reliance from India, Finisterre from the US, Motorola and others, and it works as a win-win.
So, Ori, let me ask you, it's from an investment standpoint, it's a little bit different where the government's not getting equity. Why would they do that?
Oh, perfect. Great question. So actually there was a research made by the Hebrew University in 2017 showing that every dollar that the IIA invested in these companies came back to the economy between 5 to 8 times. How come? Very simple. If I invested my own money in your company and you failed, I lost my money. As the government, it's like a casino house. The house always wins. Why is that? Because some companies will succeed and then you get back taxes by the exit. Anyway, half of the money comes back as income tax because this money goes to your employees' high salaries. But even if companies fail, the lessons learned, the know-how, the IP that was created, the new company that comes from this technology eventually comes back to the economy. And more than that, I spoke about the leverage for us, the investors. 85% comes from the government. This is only in the beginning. In the long run, it flips over because next one is going to be much, much, much bigger. And then the government is out. It's only us, the private sector. So in the very beginning, most of the money comes from the government. In the long run, most of the money comes from the private sector.
I have to unbundle 2 things, if I may, in there.
Sure.
Is it so much that you bring forward? One, the lessons around failure. So within failure, we do learn so much.
Of course.
Which we don't get to talk about so much because we always want to talk about the successes. Right. But I think bringing also forward from a government standpoint, they're getting rates of returns in much different ways, right?
Yeah.
When you talk about revenue generation, job creation,
Right.
innovation. So
Right.
it's really a brilliant strategy when
Yeah.
you do say a win-win all around.
Yeah. Definitely. So it's not only about money, it's about bringing to Israel the best multinational companies that then help this tiny Israeli startup get to the markets. Think about Reliance, huge, the biggest company in India. So from day one, this startup has, only the beginning, they're already exposed to Reliance and the Reliance exposed to them. They can take them to Asia and to India and everything. So it's really amazing. It created thousands of jobs, hundreds of companies during the years. It's a big success story. And by the way, I told you that we have another incubator in New Zealand. They took the Israeli model with tiny adjustments and doing the same there. And I can tell you that we're working on additional incubators in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, in Morocco, in some countries in Europe, always with government funding, government leverage that incentivize us. But in the long run, it flips over and it actually brings more money to their countries and more knowledge and more companies.
Well, it's a beautiful use case, and I think I understand you're the largest with 6 incubators here in Israel, but really to demonstrate that now on a globalized basis, this footprint can keep going.
Yeah, for sure. So our mission is to create ecosystem of early stage incubators all over the world. Because, eventually innovation is all about diversification. So we have ag tech and food tech and cybersecurity and enterprise software and from New Zealand and from Israel and hopefully from the Gulf now. When you diversified it and they work together, it's a win-win. It's not a sum-zero game. It's a synergy between companies, between geographics and between sectors.
Wow, congratulations on the amazing work, Ori,
Thank
to
you so
you and
much.
the team. What a great piece of leadership in action, and just love to continue to learn more of what OurCrowd is doing globally.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.